Hello, wonderful listeners. Pulkit Garg here. Thrilled to welcome you back to our podcast. We are listening, and today we are going to discuss on what are affirmations and how do they help in stress management and mindful eating. But before we dive into the world of positive declarations, let's share a captivating anecdote. Picture a quiet morning, the city still asleep, and a person standing in front of a mirror, whispering words of encouragement. Affirmations, a practice that's much more than spoken words, they're the seeds of change. So, Dr. Divyanshi, why don't we, share what exactly are affirmations?
Again, very simply, affirmations are words. That's it. So when
Okay.
you talk to yourself, those are words. Before recording the podcast, when I said I'm feeling nervous,
Mhm.
that's an affirmation.
Okay.
Every word is an affirmation. Every word that you believe in is an affirmation.
Okay.
You don't have to, there is no exercise on it. Most of the things in life that are very authentic, that are very healing, are very simple. बट सिंपल चीज़ें कभी कभी ग्रास्प नहीं होती हैं, सो वी हैव असाइंड सम टर्म्स टू इट लाइक माइंडफुलनेस, वेरी सिंपल. इफ़ यू आर इन दिस मोमेंट, यू आर लिविंग, बट हमने उसको एक टर्म असाइन किया, माइंडफुलनेस. सिंपली व्हेन यू आर सेइंग वर्ड्स दैट यू बिलीव इन इज एन एफर्मेशन.
Okay. Uh, so how do affirmations, really help? I have been hearing affirmations around a lot, working in the field of natural healing, and with a lot of, mental health coaches, mindfulness coaches. Affirmations are everywhere. So how do they actually help an individual out there?
Okay, so affirmations help you create new pathways in your brain, right? There is a desired reality that you want to experience. You woke up in the morning, you have an interview, for example, you are nervous, you are scared, but you want to feel confident, for example. Affirmation will help you ground back to the desired reality. It will help you shift your focus from not what you want to what you want. हम कहते हैं ना कि जिस जहाँ पे एनर्जी जाती है वहाँ पे अटेंशन जाता है, and that becomes a reality. Affirmation kind of diverts that energy and attention to the reality that you want. And the more repeatedly you say an affirmation, the more you will start to believe in it. And why is that? For example, if somebody says negative thing about you, maybe one person says something about you, you might ignore them. If 3% say something about you might ignore that as well. But if 10 people say something about you, you might feel maybe there might be an element of truth there. That's why everyone is saying it. Similarly, sorry, when you start repeatedly saying a statement that you want to believe in, you will start believing in it slowly. But affirmation in itself is not a kryptonite or something, it's not a superpower. You will have to take actions as well that will make you believe in that statement.
Okay. Can you help us understand with an example?
For example, if I will take that example of job interview wala, that I am feeling nervous and I am feeling very scared for the interview, and I am standing in front of the mirror. Even if I'm not standing in front of the mirror, I'm just saying to myself I am confident, and I'm just saying good affirmations about myself. But then my body posture is not in alignment with the what a confident person would do, how a confident person would sit, how they would talk. So I will feel more confident if I wear new clothes. Maybe I will have to improve my body posture of how confident person look. If somebody asks me how you are doing, I will have to answer them confidently. There will have to be some unfamiliarity in the actions as well. I am taking some actions. I'm not proficient in it, but I'm still taking some actions towards my goal while saying the affirmations at the same time.
Okay.
That will help the action and the affirmation. It will work on your consistency, it will work on your habit, it will work on your belief, it will work on your emotion. Saying only affirmation will not have any impact on your life.
Got it. So, Dr. Divyanshi just, told that affirmations help us build new pathways in our mind. But how do they foster a connection between the mind and the body and influence our stress responses and overall well being?
just like I said, that just saying affirmation won't have any effect on your life. So even with stress or any other emotion, when you are feeling any emotion or any challenges, I would say any challenges in your life, while saying affirmation, there has to be certain action that backs up that affirmation. Did I say that right? There
Yep.
has to be action that backs up that affirmation.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
That will help. जो आपने बोला ना कि माइंड बॉडी कनेक्शन, सो बॉडी की जब हम बात करते हैं दैट इज द एक्शन, माइंड की जब बात करते हैं दैट इज द एफर्मेशन. सो दैट incorporates the mind body connection, because what your brain will do when you say an affirmation, it will look for evidences.
Okay.
Why do I believe this word that you are saying? And when you take action, कि see मैं कर रही हूँ, see मैं कर रहा हूँ, then brain is like, oh, I have evidence to believe you. And when every day when you consistently take the action and say the word as well, the brain will have evidence to back up those words. कि okay, ठीक है, I can see you taking the actions. Okay, there are so many things that are happening. Okay, I'll believe you. And then slowly you get to the reality that you want.
Okay. So, Dr. Divyanshi, like affirmations are something, you mentioned that they are the simple words that we are speaking on an everyday basis. So, how can someone create or craft these, strong statements for mindful eating, better life, and moving forward? How can somebody, really craft their own affirmations out there?
Okay, so affirmations have to be in the present moment. This is, again, before I say that, I would like to say you can make your own affirmation. Whatever works for you works for you. This is just what some pointers that are from my side. If you feel कि आपके affirmations that you make, they are different in nature, उनका format different है, but they work wonderfully for you, that's the correct answer. In psychology, in healing, in health, in general, in life, there is no right or wrong answer. Whatever works for you is the correct answer. So when we come to affirmations, what I do personally is I make my affirmations in the present tense. I am at peace, for example, or I am happy, for example. I am grounded, I am attracting abundance, whatever. So affirmations have to be in the present. Second, don't make your affirmations very far off. Like there shouldn't be a lot of distance between your current reality to where you want to go. It should have some element of reality. Like for example, again with the example of job interview, if I'm going, I will ace the job interview, instead of I will become the next CEO of this company. So there has to be some reality in it. So again, because your brain will look for evidences, your brain will analyze ki, what do I do with these words that you have just spoken. So it's very important to have some element of reality and some element of desired reality plus some actions, and you consistently practice it, and then you get the results. Very simple.
But Dr. Divyanshi, now, since affirmations are words that we are speaking on a regular basis and acting upon it as well as the next step of crafting affirmations, or believing in making our mind believe in affirmations. And when we are stressed, or when we have had a fight with somebody, or we are in an emotional state, we tend to incline towards a lot of negative thought process and negative words that are coming out of us. And for during that duration of emotional state, we sort of some way or the other become very particular. I'm going to do that, or I'm not going to talk to that person.
Right.
How do we really deconstruct these negative informations and the pathways that have already built because of our thought process in our mind? How do we deconstruct that and construct in a positive front?
Okay. First of all, when these situations happen, you don't need to work on deconstructing and reconstructing anything. Because firstly, you know that any emotion that you experience intensely is temporary in nature. Because no human being can survive with such intense emotions at every point in their life. At one point, these emotions will subside.
Okay.
Second, when you practice mindfulness, you change your reactions to responses. So even if you're having intense negative emotions, you might not act upon them. You might still take a pause and you will wait for those emotions or thoughts to subside. So that's okay. There is absolutely no need to correct everything in your life to become a perfect person. So if you're having negative emotions, let experience those negative emotions. That's fine. Don't do anything about it. When they subside, when you are feeling fine, when you are feeling neutral, not very happy, not very sad, when you are in a calm state, you can practice your positive emotions then for the future. And you can at that time analyze that why did you have such negative emotions in the first place? Did it trigger any insecurity in you? Did they say anything that offended you? How could that situation have gone better from your side, from their side? Is communication an answer? But all of this happens, all of this introspection happens after you have calmed down. When you are in an intense state, when you are in a reactive state, don't do anything. Go in an inaction mode. Let yourself fully experiencing what you are experiencing. That is the basic essence of mindfulness. Experience everything, resist nothing, and don't cling to anything. Nothing is reality. These emotions आ जाए हैं, चले जाएंगे.
Amazing. Now, how can individuals, incorporate affirmations into their daily routines? And are there any specific times or situations where affirmations are particularly beneficial?
So there are two times when I would say that they are most effective. That is after you just wake up in the morning, before you look at your phone and before you interact with the world. And second is before you go to sleep. Because that is when your subconscious mind and your unconscious mind is the most active. That is when you are most suggestible. So these are the two time जहाँ पे मैं बोलूँगी कि affirmations should be practiced no matter what. But apart from that, the entire day, whenever you feel that you want to feel good about yourself or you want to experience a certain emotion or a certain mindset, you can keep practicing affirmations. It won't take much time. You don't have to say it out loud. You can say it within yourself as well. If you can excuse yourself, go somewhere else and chant the affirmations. It's fine.
Dr. Divyanshi, I would really like you to share some affirmation practices for our listeners. But before that, I just have one, question to ask again.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned that the best time to practice, affirmations is either before we, the moment we wake up and before we check our phone. So that's one window we are looking at. And the other window you mentioned is before we go to bed, before we sleep.
Right.
But a lot of individuals in today's time have that chaotic mindset. Whenever they are going to sleep, their mind is not at rest. For most of them, either taking the support of Netflix, or watching binge watching a lot of movies or episodes on YouTube or various OTT platforms, and they try to calm their mind over that time. And how can they practice affirmation with such a chaotic mind? So that's where I'm trying to get.
Okay. So in this case, they are not trying to calm their mind. It is distraction. It's not calm though in any way.
Yeah, distracting their mind. Yeah, distracting from the thoughts that are going on. Yes.
Right. If we try to practice affirmations at anything at that point, it won't register within you at all.
Yep.
But what is important is starting.
Okay.
एक दिन में, 2 दिन में तो nobody will see results, है ना? What is important is to be in that unfamiliar zone. It is the motivation and energy to actually make that change, to take that first step. So maybe for a couple of days or 3-4 days, you might go back to Netflix or something. But you practice affirmations, you practice deep breathing. If you have having problem with meditation or mindfulness practice, there are guided audios as well which you can listen to. If you still want something to distract yourself, आप audio books लगा सकते हो, something that is very peaceful. So you can, instead of making a very big change in your schedule that your brain gets very overwhelmed, I can't handle so much change, make very gradual and slow changes. Maybe you can practice affirmations, you can go for 5 minutes or 2 minutes of deep breathing or some mantra meditation, and after that you can watch your Netflix. It is the best of both worlds. You did both, and eventually you can slowly decrease your time for Netflix, and at one point you can just completely stop it. So the point is to be very kind to yourself. It's like treating your mind like a kid. You don't, like, suddenly when your kid has a bad habit, तुम उनको डांट के suddenly don't threaten them. The kid will start throwing a tantrum. कि ये नहीं मिलेगा. It's have you ever realized if you have gone on a diet and you say to your brain, okay, कल से तो junk food नहीं मिलेगा, then you have all the cravings in the world for all the coffee and cake and everything.
True enough. True
But
enough.
as soon as you say you can have anything you want whenever you want, the brain is like, you know what? Maybe today I'll just have water because I'm not that hungry. So it's like that. Don't restrict your mind. Don't trick it. Tell it we'll do both, and eventually you just stop doing that Netflix thing. So it takes time. The point is to be consistent and very, very kind to yourself. Very kind.
Got it. Now, why don't you share some practices that our listeners can inculcate in their lives, some affirmations that they can speak every morning or before they go to bed?
Right. So this is some affirmations that I speak when I'm practicing meditation in the morning is I am alive. I am focusing on my breath. I am grounded. I am calm. I am at peace. I am attracting abundance. So these are some affirmations that I speak in the morning. Or you can alter your affirmations to whatever you want your mindset to be at for that day. I am confident. I am happy. I am going to enjoy this day. I am going to complete all of my tasks for today. I feel accomplished. Anything, it can be anything. For mindful eating, as we brushed over mindful eating in the last episode, we have all heard gratitude is very important in our life. And why gratitude is important is because gratitude helps you come back to the present moment. Gratitude is a very key essence of mindfulness, because it helps you focus on the things that you have taken granted for, because हम future के goals को target कर रहे हैं. So when you are grateful, you come back to the present moment. And this is one of the key affirmation that I practice while mindful eating is I am grateful for this food. This is what I say before I eating the food, how I approach the food. I am grateful for this food. This food nourishes me. This food heals my body. You can say anything else as well if you feel like it. These are 3 affirmations that I say for mindful eating. So what this do is it changes my perception for the food. It changes how I approach food. And if it changes the food choices that I make. Because if there is pasta in front of me that is not made by me, and if I say this food heals my body, my brain will say, are you serious? So it changes the food choices I make for myself. That's how affirmations work.
Got it. Just to understand, how many times should we be repeating these affirmations, or what's the duration for which we should be saying these affirmations?
I would say, like, speak those affirmations till you start to become comfortable with the words. Because initially, when somebody practices affirmations, they feel a little unfamiliar, little out of place with it. कि ये कभी करा नहीं हमने. So just try to be comfortable with the words, and eventually we will move on to the process of finding evidence and taking action and making changes and seeing results. Initially, it is just important to have sort of an orientation session with affirmations. Just be comfortable with the words. So speak as many times as you want to. Speak as many times as you can without feeling very uncomfortable with it.
Got it.
It will be five times, 10 times, 20 times. I personally suggest minimum 15 times. That's what I personally suggest. But if to each their own. Whatever works for you, whatever it works for you.
Dr. Divyanshi, are there any success stories that you have encountered? Because out there would be a lot of people who would not be very, open up to accepting the power of affirmations. So, are there any success stories or experiences that you would like to share with our listeners?
Yes. So I will share some of the brief stories, and no names or nothing will be mentioned here. So I have seen with people, again, when I say affirmations, it is not just affirmations, it is the action as well. And there are stories that I have personally seen of people around me that they have changed their life, not in a very big transformative, they just change their quality of life in general. They have changed their emotional mechanisms, their coping mechanisms, their attitude towards life, with affirmations backed up with actions. What is more important with affirmations backed up with actions is there is a belief in there is a trust in there, trust on yourself. So
Okay.
they have made great changes. People have, like a couple of my friends, couple of people that I know, they have started their own business. They have changed their personal relationship, the quality of their life from this. And initially, it's not as if they were a very big fan or they were a believer of affirmation, something that they either stumbled upon or they just, let's just give it a try, let's see what happens. And it sort of happened. But the key is to be consistent with something. Anything takes time. Even if you take medicines, it takes time. There is a particular course that you take that doctor prescribes you, 5 din lena, 10 din lena, whatever. So even with affirmations and actions, I would say it takes a bit of time. Till you don't take actions, affirmations are plain words with no energy.
Got it.
And anything जिसका result दिखेगा, it requires certain energy. And that energy comes from certain intention, and that would come from action, that would come from belief.
Amazing.
So if your emotions are not involved in it, if your actions are not involved, अगर आप action नहीं ले रहे, इसका मतलब आप कहीं ना कहीं चाहते ही नहीं हो वो there is something that is stopping you from doing it. You're not converting it into a real energy. So affirmations will not have any effect on your life. Try doing this for a month at least to see some results, see some changes, not results, some changes.
Great. Dr. Divyanshi, you were also mentioning about a practice for mindful eating in our previous episode. If you can, elaborate a bit on that.
Okay, so this is a very famous mind raisin eating meditation के नाम से है ये. You can find it on the internet. But instead of raisin, we can use any food, right? And this is very initial step, initial starting point for you to see what mindful eating is all about. So what you do is you sit with the food, right? You engage all your senses when it comes to the food. You are sitting in front of the food, there is no distraction around you, right? You are engaging completely with the food. You observe the food, you see the texture, you see the colors, you slowly pick it up, you see how it feels in your hand. Is it soft, is it crispy, what is the texture, what is the color, etc. You smell it, how's the smell of the food. Then you break a small piece, you put it in your mouth and you don't chew. You let it sit in your mouth and you experience all the flavors that emerge and you sit with the flavors. Then you slowly chew and you experience every texture and every new taste that you get with the food. And then you slowly swallow it. And then you sit with the aftertaste of the food. Now, what this small process, it might sound a bit boring, bit slow, but what this process does, it makes you feel very connected with the food. You might get certain imagery of the food. If there is a food, oh my god, you might get the imagery of the farmers or of a mom cooking or some memory you have associated with that food. That's okay, that's great. Whatever you are getting, any sensation, any thought, any emotion you are getting with the food. And this helps you connect with the food. If you sit with till the aftertaste of the food, you will realize what this food does to your body. Does it make you feel happy? Does it make you feel heavy? Does it make you feel thirsty? Like when I have something sweet, I feel thirsty very immediately. So initially it will be a slow process, but eventually you would not require itna slow process for mindful eating. वो habit में आ जाएगा. So you will eventually start being more mindful and intuitive of what you are eating, how much you are eating, and everything.
Got it. And while researching about you, Dr. Divyanshi, we got to know that you're an author in making. So why don't you share about your book on mindfulness and what the readers can expect from it?
Okay, so the book is on mindful eating, and it starts from the very basic things. It's not just from a psychological point of view. It's the book is very personal to me. So since I was a kid, I had, as I mentioned in the last episode, I had a very unhealthy relationship with food since I was a kid. And it was, unhealthy is not even the term you would, it justifies the the kind of relationship I shared with food. And the point is, जब आपका food के साथ relationship होता है, जो mess up हो जाता है, it affects your daily functioning of life, your self confidence, your body image, your self esteem, your social life, your personal life, your professional life. Everything takes a hit because you feel so conscious of yourself. And I have sort of experienced that throughout most of my life. And when I started practicing mindfulness personally, as I said, during the pandemic, and I it sort of transformed into very personal and a spiritual journey for me with the food. So the book contains a lot of the information starting from the scratch, what the food is, what is body, to tens and thousands of things that you can find. It's not boring at all. It's not some self-help book. It's just, it lists down what food is, what body is, what eating is, and it covers from very different point of view, from psychological, from spiritual point of view, from personal point of view, everything. So there might be a takeaway from for everyone who is interested to improve their relationship with food, definitely. Because my main aim is, I don't want anyone to go through what I went through. And even if they find some one little solution for themselves, that's like the biggest win for me, because it was just plain traumatic growing up.
So I'm definitely, gonna be one of your customers, the early readers of your book. I would like to understand and evolve on my relationship with food. Um, Thanks for Dr. Divyanshi, for helping us go through this journey of understanding mindfulness, mindful eating, and then affirmations. Really thankful to you.
Thank you, and thank you so much for inviting me here. It was great talking to you, Pulkit.
Pleasure is all ours. So, listeners, you know the drill. If you have any questions or anything you would like Dr. Divyanshi to, talk about or share her views on it, please feel free to DM us or put it as a comment in one of our platforms. So, thanks a lot, and we will keep bringing you more such, thought-provoking episodes and discussions on We Are Listening. Thank you.